you've been following the TAFE SA story, you would have noticed that it's gone very quiet lately, with limited news and communication recently. You might have seen a local story about the TAFE Naracoorte campus being returned to state development, which was on the 21st of March. And there was a story just before that about students being knocked back for scholarships. We all know that TAFE SA has provided a plan to ASQA to fix courses that are on notice for sanctions. And many of you are aware that the regulator hasn't provided an update on TAFE SA since December last year. This is where they said ASQA has agreed to a request from TAFE SA for an extension of time to lodge a reconsideration application to the 2nd of March 2018. Now, ASQA's decision in relation to TAFE SA will not take effect until the reconsideration review process is complete. And when ASQA receives the TAFE SA reconsideration application, it will make a decision about the application and notify TAFE SA of the outcome within 90 days. If ASQA affirms the original decision, TAFE SA may apply for a review of ASQA's decision, and ASQA will undertake another compliance audit of TAFE SA during 2018. Only 12 submissions were received for the TAFE SA Senate inquiry, including one from ASQA, which is really interesting reading. It identifies critical and systemic non-compliances across the training examined. Non-compliances related to marketing, training and assessment strategies, assessment systems, and trainer and assessor skills. And in addition to this, they stated that the Civil Aviation Safety Authority, or CASA, had also conducted an audit of TAFE SA and found serious non-compliances, leading to TAFE SA voluntarily suspending aircraft maintenance engineers' licence training. When you hear about these examples, I am sure that you are thinking these are not just small mistakes, like some are suggesting. It is a tale of woe across the board. The reasons for suspension outlined in the Senate inquiry submission relates to the core business of assessment and workplace evidence, as well as components of units of competency just gone missing, plus problems with third-party agreements and even expired courses. If you're in South Australia, or you even have a slight interest in politics, you would know that the Saturday the 17th of March was a historic day. This is where a new South Australian Liberal government was formed, led by Stephen Marshall. South Australia's new cabinet was sworn in on the 22nd of March, with 14 people on the Liberal front bench and 11 new ministers, including John Gardner, the Minister for Education, and David Pisoni, Minister for Industry and Skills. Two people that need to be very close to this issue. Now, in the South Australian Liberal Party's 100-day plan, they state that within the first week, action will be initiated to dissolve TAFE SA board and appoint new board members. And within 30 days, they will extend the terms of reference for the current TAFE SA Strategic Capability Review. And within 100 days, the new government is planning to commence reforms to the Training and Skills Act, to revitalise the Training and Skills Commission, including the re-establishment of industry skills councils. On a side note, having been involved in these structures before, I believe the best approach would be to look at the existing business and industry associations, especially where the sectors are priorities for the state, and negotiate with them to provide this insight and advice. Because there needs to be emphasis on practical action plans and programs for the current and future workforce. Entrepreneurial education is another priority, which is great to see, and it would be very important to understand what has already been tried in this space, what works, who is leading, and the partnerships that are working for schools, connecting into the whole entrepreneurial ecosystem. On the 19th of March, the Department of State Development sent out a TAFE SA Strategic Capability Review Survey, helping to inform the review outcomes. If you've seen the survey, perhaps you also think that TAFE SA is going to get slammed, especially from an employer and industry perspective. And look, I could be wrong, but let's wait and see, as it's clear that TAFE SA doesn't know what it should be and what their potential customers want. And here's a message specifically for our new state ministers, John Gardner and David Personi. We are all wishing you well and will offer support where we can in your efforts to fix TAFE SA. From a federal government perspective, for Senator Simon Birmingham, I know that you are also committed to ensuring this problem is fixed and not repeated. And while we support you and we wish you well, we are also watching intently, and many of us are prepared to hold you to account, as we did with the state Labor government, because this is too much of an important issue for us to ignore or brush aside any longer. So please make good decisions with the board selections. Get consultants that are capable and have the insight to forward plan, as well as address the current issues. And please look to South Australian industry experts to provide input into the planning and the outcomes. But most importantly, really consider the extended terms of reference. So this inquiry is the foundation for positive and meaningful change. And please be transparent and open with the findings so that we can start to build trust in our public provider and the state's largest registered training organisation.